Welcome to Break a Wish, the podcast where all your dreams come true, but with terrible, ironic costs. I'm your host, Maddox Campbell. Joining me this time, we have Corey Birch.
Hello.
And Anthony Hall.
Hey.
And the movie we're breaking out this time is Kazam, the 1996 Shaq film where Shaq is a genie. Please tell me, gentlemen, what is your experience with this film? Had you seen it before, or was this your first time?
For me, I had seen it before, like a long time ago, and I had forgotten some of the plot points, but rewatching it was a bit of an adventure. Okay. Yeah. I had forgotten some of the things that were developed and immediately abandoned in the movie.
What about you, Corey?
Yeah, no, I too had seen it, but I enjoy the concept of the movie overall. Just Shaquille O'Neal as a genie is a wild premise for any film.
And clearly, as much as they got before they sold it to some studio and then someone had to develop it. Shaquille O'Neal is a genie. All right, now write it. Like that. That's all we have as an idea so far.
It's a Disney property, so that's wild.
Yeah.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Especially wild because, and it will probably get, I'm skipping ahead a lot here, but we pointed out is that a lot of people die at the end of this for sure, right?
Oh yeah.
Too many for a Disney film.
Way too many for a Disney film.
Also, what I'll say too is I think this film is way too similar to Aladdin to be just also by Disney. It's just the same film, the same film company.
There's enough differences. I can definitely tell them apart. I've recently rewatched Aladdin for this series as well.
Yeah.
And no, they're very different films in every other aspect other than they have genies and are Disney.
Yeah.
When does Aladdin steal a $1 million tape?
Whoa! Spoilers! Come on!
I was saying more of I'm very happy that there were not as many rap breaks in Aladdin.
There were a few.
My goodness.
Not as many.
Not as many. Yeah, I'm very interested to hear your perspective on this film, Anthony, because I know you are both a rapper and a big basketball fan. And I wonder how those two aspects flavor your perspective of this film.
Well, the basketball perspective, from a basketball fan perspective, it's funny to see Shaquille O'Neal try to be an actor. The operative word being try, especially in
very strong on the try.
It is just something else. Wow. But from it being from the rap sort of perspective, it's so hilarious to hear these songs. And like at the beginning of the movie when Kazam first emerges out of the boombox and he starts rapping, I forgot that everything he said was rhyming, and I was like, oh my goodness, are we in for a ride?
Oh boy, I've got so many of my favorite just raps written down because there's so many of them that are amazing.
Please hit us up, Corey.
I'll start with a few and then I'll sprinkle them in. But like the first one that he says is, "I'll grant you these wishes 3, and nobody be dissing me," which is it's a weak rap for sure.
And also, like, again, if he's like 5,000 years old or whatever, like, when did he hear that dissing was a thing?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Or if you want a Jaguar Black, you better stand back, which is just not great.
No.
Also, he's just like so comfortable rapping and performing. It is like truly a surprise for someone who has been stuck in various vessels over thousands of years to have such stage presence and wherewithal to I don't know, like make his boombox shoot sparks and have dance moves and catchphrases.
That's stagecraft, baby.
Yeah, like I guess like he just must have had like a masterclass subscription when he was in his boombox, so he's just soaking up all of these different skills.
Maybe one of his previous masters just asked for like a one-man show that he could watch, and Kazam had to just do a show for him.
Yeah, that's pretty
All right.
funny.
I had to pick up rap. I had to learn how to do some dance. I don't know.
What's
Oh my
funny
goodness.
about this movie, it really is just, I think this was Shaq's idea of where he's going to take off, because before, like, he produced the movie, which I found out, but it came right after his Shaq Fu video game.
Oh.
So in the movie, he does Shaq Fu. And also before this, he was already a rapper. I'll put that in quotations. So of course he's going to rap in this movie.
Yeah, had he released like his mixtape and stuff already?
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So
yeah, now all of this is making a lot of sense now.
He probably wrote it into his contract. And then also, again, a spoiler, but at the end of the film, he slam dunks the bad guy. So it's like, of course,
Yeah.
just he's like, it's in his contract. Okay, I can do this, and I can do this. It's all gotta be in.
In my notes, I have dunked, all caps.
Well, in my notes, what I put in is that, yeah, he turns the bad guy into a ball so that he can dunk him.
Yeah.
Yes.
At no point does he turn him back from a ball, and it's unclear if being dunked is lethal in and of itself. So I guess we could just believe that villain then lives the rest of his life as a basketball.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if he would make it out because the building was on fire, right?
Yeah, he might have died in a fire as well. He might have died from the force of being dunked.
And then burned. Very, very on brand for Disney. Lots of death by being turned into a ball and being burnt to a crisp.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Oh my God. Okay. So much to unpack.
So much to unpack. And also, okay, what about the non-Shaq rapping? Because that felt bad to me too. But again, I'm not an expert on mid-90s rap. So the non-Shaq rapping that appeared in this film, I was like, wait, this is really bad, right? Like, why is this audience cheering, and like, why are these tapes valuable?
I think like some of these artists did exist at this time. Like I think Spinderella. Oh no, that's a character. There's another like artist that was, I think, a real artist, but yeah, the way that they portray all these musicians is like, oh my God, like all of these people are so bad.
Are you saying that Shaq is not a real artist?
I think
2 CDs by him then.
I think he grew into it, you know. Maybe.
I don't think he can grow anymore.
He's grown enough, that man.
But the specific song that they, him and that Kazam and Max do together is terrible.
Oh yeah, that's bad. That was clearly bad.
We genie.
Yeah,
genie.
The full quote is, "I look to the bird and he say to me, we ain't men, we genie," which is
we genie,
which is not. It's not like correct grammatically. Also, in the sense of the story, Max is not a genie.
No, but okay. But did that set up that in his past he was trapped with another man who also got turned into a genie, but then is not mentioned at any point anywhere else other than that song? Like, was there someone else who got turned into a genie at the same time as Kazam?
I don't know.
Was that the plot I picked up from that? I thought it was.
Or is it that since he has these wishes, he considers whomever wields the power of the genie to also be a genie?
That seems like a stretch, but maybe. I don't know. Again, this is very, very confused mythology. And I'll just take my quick second. Genie and Jinn, not different things. Jinn are just like, genie is just a French word for Jinn that was like developed when they brought it to the West. So
in this movie, they're different though, because that's what he says at the end.
That's what he says. Yeah. He wants to be a Jinn because they're all powerful and genies are slaves.
Because Jinn are free. They are free.
I had that written down. Genies aren't free. Jinn are free. It was a lot of problematic language. Like,
oh yes,
he
very
literally halfway through he's like, "I am not your slave." And they say slave a whole bunch. It's not.
Oof.
Yeah.
Big yikes.
Well, okay, which is also The Wee Genie song was set up in such a way that it was like, oh man, I can't perform. I'm so nervous to perform. So an adult black man is learning to rap from an 8-year-old child, white child, is basically how they set up that scene before it happens.
I don't know. What is anything really
But
in
I
this
mean,
film?
Maddox, you have to remember, it was established at the very beginning. Max, the small child, said,
Mhm.
"I own you," which is just
Oh.
big
Oh.
whoop.
Let that bring me to my first point that I wrote about Max in my notes, which is least likable kid ever.
I agree. It's like they tried to make him an unlikable protagonist, like in every way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
He's not the good kid in school. He's not like a rebellious kid that we're like, ooh, but he's going against rules for the betterment. No, he's just like a little shit that I hate.
Yeah.
And whines about everything, doesn't acknowledge other people's feelings at all, and seems not to learn from each experience as it occurs.
I really enjoyed watching him be bullied at the beginning. Frankly. And also, I was when I was watching it, I was like, "Is that Pedro from Napoleon Dynamite?"
Did you? Look
You are
into it?
correct. It was.
Oh
Yes.
wow!
That-
Huge! I didn't spot that. That's
I was like,
wild.
"Oh my god, is that Pedro?" Oh, Pedro's so mean.
Also,
Also-
Max is the most generic 90s kids name. Like, if you go back to any 90s movie, like 9 times out of 10, the boy's name is Max, always.
Yeah, they reuse that a lot. I think it was Max in Liar Liar as well, which we also did on this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
A bunch of them. It's Max. It's
I'd
just
also
fast and easy to say, I guess. I don't know.
I'd like to say that Kazam is a rare case of a movie that I would consider to be stepdad propaganda.
Oh, for sure. That was also a huge 90s thing, right? Like, divorce in movies was huge in the 90s.
Yeah.
Like, it was like literally every movie.
But this one
Yeah,
is like
it's-
a lot of times like stepdads are portrayed as evil bastards and scummy dudes. And
Yeah.
this guy is like a firefighter. He's like I wrote, is Travis nice?
He's very nice.
Yeah. And I'm like, what the hell is this? This stepdad propaganda trying to make kids believe that all their stepdads are going to be like these heroic firefighters. Super nice
Yeah,
guys.
like he's set up as a firefighter at the start just so that he can then be the actual one who saves Max at the end,
Yeah.
right?
And he has
Ugh.
that monologue after like the first time Max like acts out and then comes home and is like, I don't want to talk to you. And he's like, I'm here. Like, when you're ready, like, I'll listen. And I'm like, what is this? This is
I'm
a very
excessively
nice guy.
reasonable. Yeah.
This guy loves this guy's mom.
Yeah. That's all he cares about. He doesn't want to replace your dad. He just hopes we can be friends.
Yeah.
And he loves your mom so much.
He's just like setting just incredibly low bars for this kid to meet. And he just like, Max just tries so hard not to do that.
Yeah. He allows his father to kidnap him and threaten him
Yeah.
and runs away from his mom for protection
Yeah.
instead.
The opposite, like the portrayal of his actual father, they just made him the worst man ever. Like, I mean, first of all, the crime was pretty lame. CD
Yeah.
The crime was so lame.
CD piracy. Like, what the hell? It also just dates it to, like, you'd almost say the month that this movie came out, because CD piracy is up like a pandemic. They're like, oh my god!
Yeah, I'm like, why is this being run out of a shady nightclub? Why isn't this just being run out of some guy's basement with a single CD rewriter?
Yeah.
Like, that's all you need is a freaking PC computer with a writer drive.
Yeah, and then also later in the movie, the dad like yells at his son to be like, "Get out of here! Get out of here!" He says like 7 times to the kid, who's just like, "Dad, hey," and he's like
Yeah.
beating up some other chump.
When he's beating
Well,
up
yeah,
like
he's beating up a guy.
he's beating up the engineer who was like, I just got hired to record this live album. And then
Yeah.
his dad
I don't want
is
to do
beating him up.
crimes.
Yeah. He's just,
You're gonna do crimes in front of me, or I'm gonna beat you.
Yeah.
and
I'm
the
the-
crime is
I'm the
piracy.
good guy.
But then also late in the movie, it's established that his dad is basically a ninja. Because if you remember, like when he's escaping from the bad guys, he's like, "Huh, cha, huh, huh." It's like
Oh yeah.
insane.
No, that was a moment that stood out for me because when he's escaping from the bad guys, so yeah, he escapes like the first group of guys, and then they're running down the hall.
Yeah.
And the first guy they run into is just some guy carrying a bunch of shit. And the dad clocks him, and he like drops his stuff and stumbles and falls back. And then he like opens the door and then clocks that guy again. That guy did not try to stop him at all. That guy was just walking by.
Let it be known that Nick Mateo is a ninja, highly trained killer. Oh my god.
He will beat any man who walks on the same hallway as him while he's trying to escape.
Should we establish what the plot of the movie is at any point, Max?
Okay, so if you haven't, the plot is Genie was in, I guess, a lamp that really looked more like a hookah.
Yep.
But that broke, so he ended up in a boombox.
Magic boombox, baby!
And then Max, while running from bullies through what is an entirely derelict district of, I assume, New York, because it's just constantly buildings that are falling apart that he's running into here.
Yeah.
Finds the magic boombox, opens it. Kazam is his genie now, I guess, but for some reason can't use his powers right away, so he doesn't believe it. Plot ensues, I guess, and eventually... He tell me what else happens that actually drives the plot.
Max must request 3 wishes.
Yeah. Can we talk about how aggressive the product placement is when Shaq gets out of the boombox? He like steps on a perfectly placed can of Pepsi.
Oh
yeah, there's a bunch of Pepsi that's just like held in front of the camera.
Yeah,
there's definitely some very clearly labeled Sunny D gets like thrown around a couple times.
Yeah.
Is there any other product placement that you remember being like aggressively blatant?
I mean, like when his wish happens, his first one, that obviously is a lot of product placement.
So many candy bars. Yeah.
He basically wished for junk food from the ground to the sky, right? And then basically what started coming down was all of the food that Donald Trump put out at the White House for those football players.
That's correct.
It's like cold burgers and cold burritos and cold fries, and then finally some candy bars.
Again, and they never return to that stash, so that just all rots.
Yeah.
It causes the rat population to explode in New York City.
But they do come back to the fort, and then all the stuff is gone. And
it's
the
fort, gone?
Yeah, the fort is just a fire hazard, first and foremost.
This entire city is a fire hazard in this film. Every building they go into is either derelict building or shady nightclub or their school, which is also kind of falling apart.
There's another piece of product placement. I don't know if you guys caught it. It was in one of Shaquille O'Neal's raps. He said, "If you girls are hungry, let's green, egg, and ham it."
Oh yeah, I wrote green, egg, and ham it in my notes.
What a line, baby! Dr. Seuss making that Kazam money.
I don't know what it means, but it doesn't seem appropriate. You know what I mean?
Oh my god, yeah, green, egg, and ham it.
That's got to be the new pickup line of 2020. Hey girl, let's green, egg, and ham it.
Oh, it doesn't sound good.
Also, during that first wish scene in the fort, when they race on the BMXs, that was so ridiculous. But it made me think, like, if Shaq Fu was a video game that had just recently come out at that point in time, like, why didn't they make Shaq BMX? Like, that would have been amazing.
Yeah. It was such an unnecessary scene, and then there's parts of it where Shaq is just running with the bike instead.
Yeah.
It was so fun.
Because it's a tiny bike for Shaq. Like, he's a big man.
A BMX is a tiny bike for a regular man, let alone a 7-footer.
Yeah, it was such an insane. It was like, this is their version of a chase scene, I guess, but it was like the lamest thing ever because Shaq is like, "I'm gonna walk."
So yeah, I don't think there are any sympathetic characters. Like the closest sympathetic character is the stepdad, but other than that, I don't think there's any sympathetic characters because Kazam is not a good person.
No.
Let's just make he made as a passing comment that he caused Pompeii.
Yeah, I have that written down too.
Like, whoops! I caused Pompeii.
It was a wish.
Someone wished. Okay, but like, use some amount of artistic license. We know that genies can kind of change the way they do things.
Yeah.
I don't know what that person wished for, but Pompeii wiped an entire city off the map, and then like messed with the climate for years to follow as the ash cloud wrapped itself all the way around the globe.
Yes.
It is such a huge catastrophe
It was so huge
for someone to just be like, "Whoops,
Yeah.
I did a Pompeii."
Yeah, and all the people were
What did Pompeii?
caught so off guard that they were literally frozen in time where they were. Like it's so insane. And they also like in the plot of the movie, they skate over it so much because Max is like, "What's the worst thing you've done?" And Shaq's like, "Well, I caused Pompeii." And then he's like, "No, but really?" It's like, "But really?" That's why Max is a piece of shit.
Yeah, what the fuck has Max done that he doesn't think Pompeii is a big deal?
Oh,
Yeah,
my
that's ridiculous. That's like absolutely crazy.
Oh boy. All right, let's step through this step by step with all the wishes then. Let's start. First wish is the attempted wish that does not get cast, which is he asks for a jaguar.
Oh yeah, Jaguar Black. You better stand back.
You better stand back.
Come on.
Which doesn't work for no reason that is established. There's no reason
Right.
ever established why his powers don't work immediately. And also seems like a dangerous first wish because, again, we don't know how old Kazam is. Jaguar probably doesn't mean car to him, probably means an actual jaguar. I really thought that's how that one was going to get twisted. I thought he was going to summon a jungle cat.
I hoped that as well. I was like, I haven't seen this movie in a long time, but I think that would be a funny gag and it would go like for the tone of this film for sure. But then like he doesn't have magic at the beginning. And like you said, like there's no explanation whatsoever why that's a thing.
Yeah, because he clearly came out of the genie. Like he did magic to come out of the boombox.
Yeah.
He did magic to scare the kids away. He made a bunch of wind and stuff. And then when he tried to cast a wish, it just didn't work for no reason.
Like, did he just like blow his load doing his early magic that he couldn't like fulfill a wish in time? Like, did his cooldown? Like,
He had too many rhymes up in his head, and he
Yeah.
just couldn't then do a wish
Yeah.
right after.
He's
Spend
like,
all his
So-
energy.
I
so
swear this
ridiculous.
never happens to me. It's
Yeah.
no, I can do this. It's fine.
He just has like performance anxiety.
Yeah.
That's a very deep character trait of Kazam, is that he has performance anxiety, and that obviously is strewn throughout the film.
And then, so yeah, the first official wish is junk food from here to the sky. We talked about that a little bit.
Yeah.
How that is, that was just a big mess that he made of food that he left around. He didn't make the right type of junk food. He didn't prepare it or store it. It just, big old
He
mess.
didn't even eat it.
He didn't eat most of it. He made like one chocolate bar.
Yeah.
So like, if you only have 3 wishes, for your first one to be like junk food from here to the sky. Again, Max is not a smart kid. He's not responsible. So many things he could have done.
Diabetes, number one.
Yeah.
He will likely die of diabetes. Yeah, he didn't ask for any resistance to candy or anything. So, all right, that's not great. Wish number 2 was for that master tape that is somehow worth $1 million.
It's so also confusing because it's established that there are CDs in this world. Like the whole crime was CD piracy, but they're also like, but I need the tape. It's like, what the
Is it that the recording technology made it so you had to have this master tape that then you would process the audio onto CDs? That seems too advanced.
I don't think it was just a cassette tape. I think it was a different type of tape. So it might have been a higher fidelity analog tape that you could then make CDs off of. I'm not super up on my mid 90s audio recording technology. I haven't.
But the tape that he wished for was a regular cassette tape. It wasn't
Yeah.
like a fancy
No,
tape.
it was a different type of tape. It wasn't a cassette tape.
and if
It was slightly different sized.
It
if
looks
I
like it
may-
came out of the boombox.
I think it was just a prop. I don't think that the writers of this, who I think one of them was probably Shaquille O'Neal, was like, we don't need to worry about the logistics of this.
That is also fair. That is very likely. It is also not clear if he just got a new tape or whether he just stole the tape back from the kids who he then helped. I guess he helped steal the tape, even though what value could they derive from some random ass tape? And why did they want to? I don't. Ugh.
Well, they were trying to hold it ransom, right? So that the boss, the creepy.
But they
guy,
never made any demands.
They did. They said to Max, they were like, "You have to tell your dad if he wants the tape back that he needs to give like thousands of dollars." And then Max goes to talk to his dad, and that's
Oh,
when
okay.
that's when he sees like Malik like beat up his dad and then be like, you need to get that tape back. And then Nick Mateo is like, yeah, I'll get it back by midnight. And then he makes the second wish because he's like, I have to save my dad, who clearly doesn't care about me.
He doesn't care about him.
He's made it very, very clear many times already in the film that he does not care about Max.
Yeah, and also again, like, okay, the tape's worth $1 million or whatever. Could have just wished for $10 million. It's still a material thing. It's still totally within Kazam's ability to just make more money.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, okay. Oh, you wanted the tape because it's worth $1 million. Well, here's just $1 million instead. We good? I imagine we good, right?
And the villain is so creepy. He's such a creepy man.
Yeah, like I don't know what the casting call for that role was, but just like I don't think he was an actor, just like a guy. Like, hey, you.
No way, man. That actor is Marshall Manesh. He is an Iranian American actor, and he has been like that evil guy in so many movies.
So he's just that.
He is. He is like evil foreign guy essentially, which is like
that read as racist, right? Like everyone felt that character was there just to be racist, right?
Well, he's like he's the only guy that like knows about all of like this like genie lore.
Genie lore, yeah.
Yeah, he just gives people creepy eyes, and like the thing of eating goat eyes feels like that's just like racist against people from the Middle East, right?
Yeah. Also,
he wants like the Sultan's gold, is what he says, and then he like uses his like his assistant basically to try to trick Kazam, but then Kazam falls in love with her, like. And that is something that is like really poorly developed as well. Like they have like one scene together, and it's like, okay,
yeah. It doesn't seem that she likes him back at all.
No.
And yet at the end, like they just sort of like, but yeah, they end up together. I guess we'll show that in like a walking away scene.
Yeah. It's like I guess he's a regular person now, and he's just okay.
Which is not what was established at all. It was supposed to be established that he became a djinn, so then he would be just as powerful but free.
Yeah. Huh.
But I guess he has to get a job now instead.
Yeah.
That was so funny. That it was like, oh, I gotta get a job. Wah, wah.
I haven't had a job in 5,000 years.
That's a quotable line. Man. Fuck.
Yeah.
That
doesn't feel good.
That whole his career as like a rapper though, like the genie, he's like, I don't want to keep being a genie. I want to be a rapper. It was insane. What an insane sequence, and like the boombox with the pyrotechnics.
Yeah. Or just the idea of like, well, if you're waiting on your third wish, fine. I'm just gonna become a rap star until you make your wish.
Yeah.
Like, that's not how this works. That doesn't even make sense.
But
don't like, call me Kazam, call me Class K.
Yeah. But it also seemed like not a bad deal for Kazam, because like when he was like on like the middle of the show, whatever, I don't know, like he's the only performer, so I don't know why there was an intermission where he just went backstage. But like he had people like dabbing him. Somebody's job I watched was they just had a paper towel and they were dabbing his neck
because he was sweating a lot.
Like there was also a person with a regular towel too, and I was like, why are there
two dabbers?
Yeah, and then there was a person, also product placement, just holding a Pepsi for him.
Yeah, holding it in front of his face. Hey, I have a Pepsi. Smell it. Smell some Pepsi.
So I can't blame him. That seems like a pretty good life.
All right, and third and final wish is his one where he kind of cheats and goes ethereal and wishes for a second chance. And then the logistics of what happened after that are, I would say, unclear.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think, even though that's a cheating wish, somehow it's a selfless wish. So that allows Kazam to be free because his master made a selfless wish.
But it's
not.
But
then when he was free, he got to bring the kid back to life, and then he became really big for a bit and shiny.
Yeah, I wrote in my notes that Kazam becomes Zordon? ?
That's exactly what happened.
I just put the word bigger? Like, does Shaq need to be bigger?
Yeah.
He was plenty big. Like,
But it's
you
just
don't
his
go-
face. It's like zoomed
Yeah.
in just his face and like a bunch of gold smoke.
Yeah, but it's just like, okay, so we've got Shaq, like the biggest person ever.
Yeah.
We need to make him more impressive. Can we think of anything we can do to make the biggest person we already have more impressive? Oh, is it only biggerness? Is biggerness the only route we have?
Make his head bigger.
Make his head.
They already dropped the fact that he studied academia in Mesopotamia. So what is the higher version of that? Being bigger, obviously.
I guess being bigger.
The
Yeah.
only logical next
Oh
step.
my gosh. Yes.
Which is not impressive studying academia and Mesopotamia. It's like, well, they didn't have schools yet. They just invented writing.
Well, if you can think of a better rhyme for academia, I'd like to hear it, Maddox.
Like macadamia, I guess.
Okay, you're gonna study macadamia. That's nothing.
I don't know if you study
I
it, but
studied academia in macadamia.
What I will say about this film, it oddly came out the same year as Space Jam. I don't know if you guys realize that.
Oh,
it came
I
out
did not.
It came out before Space Jam. It came out in July, and then Space Jam in November. But I think arguably Shaq, even though he wasn't the best actor, I think he did a better job than Michael Jordan.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know. That's
I'll
pretty bold.
Explain your fighting words.
Okay, well, I'll say that I enjoy Space Jam as a film much more,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't. I mean, Michael Jordan is also just playing himself, but I think he's really just chewing the scenery. He's not doing a great job. He's just kind of there, and he's Michael Jordan. Whereas Shaquille O'Neal, he really embodies this genie. I feel.
Do you feel like he did any character work, or did he just make weird sounds occasionally and do things with special effects?
That's half the job of acting. I don't know. Acting,
I think we follow different schools, but
acting is reacting, and he did.
Oh my god! I do agree with Corey that Shaq as Kazam is infinitely more entertaining, but that's just because I think Shaq is more charismatic than Michael Jordan. But if we say we look at the two movies and their protagonists, I think Michael Jordan portrayed like a likable dude better than Max portrayed, or whatever the actor's name is. The kid who played Max portrayed a likable kid. Like, I am so much more invested in Michael Jordan saving the
1,000%.
Looney Tunes,
yeah,
as opposed to this kid trying to figure out his parents'
divorce
and navigating through the life of a crappy kid who gets bullied.
What I will give you is Michael Jordan made sure to give himself the handicap of having a lot of other famous actors, very charismatic actors, or charismatic characters in his film with him.
Yeah.
Right.
Porky Pig, a famous actor, love him.
Sure. I mean, he's at least, he's well known. He knows how to introduce an audience. But Shaq's all on his own in this. There's not really any other star actors in this.
Yeah,
absolutely not. Yeah, there's zero
star actors. That's why Shaq does it all, man. He does a Shaq Fu. He raps. He slam dunks somebody.
Yeah, slam dunks the villain to death.
Yeah,
I think he's a great example of why sometimes it's important to just find one thing and really focus on it, and get good at that one thing, and then not branch out at all.
Do you guys remember this? That or like a lot of people misremember this movie as Shazam, starring Sinbad.
Yes, it is a famous Mandela effect moment that no one believes when they say no, it's Kazam with Shaq. There is no Sinbad genie movie.
Yeah,
wow.
It's such a funny, because like even myself was like, oh yeah, Sinbad in that movie. I think it's like people getting it confused with Jingle All the Way, where Sinbad played the bad guy there.
Right, but he wasn't a genie in that.
Yeah, I don't know. That's just, maybe there are just parallel universes where there is Corey Birch and Maddox Campbell and Anthony Hall doing a podcast about Shazam.
I want to listen to that. I think that Sinbad would do a better job because he's an actor.
He's a comedian, that's for
exactly.
sure.
Yeah.
See,
Oh
see,
my
that's what I'm wondering. Is I'm wondering if maybe I thought I heard vaguely that they might actually do it now, just to put it to rest. They might actually just give Sinbad a
No
genie
way.
movie.
Who
We will
wants that?
shut up
I
about it.
would. I would for sure watch that. I'd watch the hell out of that. That'd be
Oh
great.
my gosh.
I can't find any evidence of it. I did a quick Google just to be like,
Yeah.
is that a thing? But no, instead it just ends up with
Yeah.
It's a giant Mandela effect. There's all these movies being like conspiracy theory. There's even some that say proof Shazam movie is real, and you're like, no,
Yeah. Somebody did a Photoshop of like a VHS cover with Sinbad. It's a real
or
bad.
something. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like the
So-
Berenstein Bears thing too. It's
Yeah.
Right.
it's wild.
And it's called the Mandela effect. So
Yeah.
the thing is that everyone collectively remembers something,
Yeah.
even though it's not true.
Yeah, because people believe that Nelson Mandela died in the 80s, when in fact he didn't die until 2013.
Yeah, he got out of prison, but everyone just remembered him dying in prison. So it's called the Mandela effect. And then conspiracy theories think that it actually is like it's an alternate reality, or it's like the Matrix was recoded, and that's why everyone has these false memories.
Yeah.
But really, it's a well documented quirk of human psychology that we occasionally two things merge in our mind and we put it together, and then a lot of people make that same merging. So they all
Can
think
they
it's real.
recode 2020 so that
Yeah.
we don't have to look for this?
Yeah,
Yeah, I think that's the greatest evidence we're not in the Matrix is that someone would have rebooted once 2020 started.
I want to be in the Sinbad Shazam universe right now.
Yeah, like this disc is corrupted. This data is no good.
Well, also, there's a few looking back, there's a lot of problematic things in this movie, but one of the most was like when Shaq woke up in bed next to Max.
Oh boy, yeah.
That was concerning. And then later,
And they even called it out too. They called it out because he was like, "Get out of my bed, you pervert!"
Yeah. But then later in the movie, when Max comes back to life after Shaq carries him like he's the bodyguard in the movie Bodyguard, he like kisses Max on the
bunch
lips, a whole bunch.
Oh.
It was like, I'm like, this would not fly. I don't know
Yeah.
why it flied back then, but Jesus Christ.
Well, and that scene, the scene where like following when he wakes up in his bedroom, and
Yeah.
then he like changes his costume to pretend to be a tutor.
Yeah.
And then like has breakfast in that like weird Star Wars breakfast montage.
Yeah.
I was like, I was so uncomfortable. I was like, this
Yeah,
man just like this huge dude just walked into your house.
Yeah, none of the stuff like I'm a tutor sent from the school. That's why I'm coming out of your son's room at 8 a.m.
Oh
Yeah.
God.
Like, that's not an explanation that makes any goddamn sense.
Absolutely not.
Yeah. Yeah, it's wild how
Okay.
uncomfortable it was.
I have one question. Spoiler, this is at the end of the movie. But when they come out of the club and Travis carries out Max, and then they're like, "Can we go home? You come in, blah, blah, blah." And then he says, "I could really use like a hot chocolate right now." And it appears in front of him. Does that mean that in the process of Kazam becoming a djinn, that Max became a genie?
That's for Kazam 2. That's for Kazam 2. Coming to a theater near you.
Because yeah, I read it as that's like a last gift from Kazam, who still does have his powers, but then that doesn't make sense why he needs to get a job. So yeah, maybe he just,
But like,
or maybe he never got his third wish. So maybe the
Yeah.
universe just gave him his third wish and gave him that hot chocolate.
that's
how I
his third
understood
wish
it.
is the hot
Yeah.
chocolate?
He did a wish for it, yeah.
Because he didn't get the second chance because second chance didn't make sense. He can't do ethereal.
Yeah, you know what? As a quote from this film, you don't get second chances in life, okay?
Mm.
That's what his
But
dad
also-
yelled at him, which is a great
Don't drink hot chocolate you find on a sewer grate.
I literally wrote that. That's the last thing I wrote. I said, "Do not drink that."
Like, like we said a lot of nice things about the stepfather, and we assumed nice things about the mom because we don't have a lot of our character work off of. But they allowed him to drink hot chocolate that was found on a sewer grate outside of a burning building.
Yeah.
But it looked pretty good. If I'm honest, I would drink that.
Oh yeah.
I
it was-
don't
it was
care how good it looks. No, you don't eat found food. You don't eat food that you don't know where it came from.
So ridiculous. This film, the mom, like, what
Yeah.
what development did her character really have?
None. I don't
Like,
think any characters really developed, but yeah,
No, none of them got better.
This film fails the Bechdel test like
oh yeah, 1,000%.
hard.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
But what it doesn't fail is the rhyme test.
Oh yeah, the rhymes per scene.
Will you indulge me in one final rhyme?
You know what? Anthony and Corey, you guys can probably rap better than I can, so I'll have you send off the podcast. Give us your final thoughts on Kazam in the form of a rap to end this podcast.
Before I sign off, I just want to say that I can't believe that Shaq-a-Roni pizza wasn't invented during this movie, because what a great tie-in that would have been.
Yeah, but also, have you had it? Have you had the Shaq-a-Roni pizza, Corey?
Anthony, it's too big for one person to consume. You understand?
It is
that, right?
great. It is fantastic.
It's Shaq-sized pizza. It's pizza built for a Shaq.
It is a great deal. I would highly recommend that.
Guys, this Maddox, if you can get sponsorships on this podcast, get Shaq-a-Roni pizza by Papa John's.
Yeah.
I did not know that existed. I just looked that up, and I'm not going to, but thank you for the advice.
It's like $15.99 for an extra large pizza with extra cheese and extra pepperoni.
An extra Shaq-a-Roni.
Yeah, sorry, I just did a plug for no reason.
Papa John's.
Yeah, Papa John's, a racist man, but they're like, let's put Shaq as our spokesperson and
for one of our pizzas
and make it ridiculously too large. Shaq-a-Roni.
All right, please wrap us off, gentlemen.
Okay, well,
give us some lines.
I'll quote Shaquille O'Neal from this film. Suffer a curse that was more than malarial, served every Tom, Dick, and Harry, yo. Guess my age, I'm an octogenarial. One stab of my fingers, I'll get a Ben and Jerry'll. Also, none of those words were words.
Oh.
None of the rhymes were words. But Shaq believed they were, so more power to him.
How about you, Anthony? What are your thoughts on this film in rap?
Oh, I'll end it with a simple rhyme in the style of the raps of this film. Max is a dumb meanie. It takes a royal asshole to screw up having a genie.
And he wants a Shaq-a-Roni.
I honestly think your rhymes were better than any of the rhymes in this film. So you know what? That's it, guys. Thank you so much, both of you, for joining me. Thank you to the audience for joining me, and we'll have another movie sometime soon. All right, bye.
What a dumb movie. God bless you. See you later, guys.
Stay safe.
Well, that's what we came up with, but we want to hear from you. Tell us your thoughts. You can find us on Twitter at BreakAWishPod, email breakawishpod@gmail.com, join the Break-A-Wish discussion group on Facebook, and you can support the show by writing a review, telling a friend, or buying a t-shirt on TeePublic. All this information at breakawish.ca. For more Corey Birch, you can check out at Good News Comedy on Instagram, or Good News Comedy The Show on Facebook. It's a monthly comedy news show that you can catch the last Friday of every month on Facebook. For more Anthony Hall, you can check out at Hall and Jokes on Instagram and Twitter, or his series Ming's Dynasty on CBC Gem in Canada or Fuse TV in the US. This is a Kicks and Giggles entertainment production, hosted by Maddox Campbell, themed by Matthew Reed, cover art by Justin Langford, and a proud member of the Sonar Podcast Network. More podcasts at thesonarnetwork.com. So, what would you wish for?
All right.
What is up?
How's it going, everybody? We're
What
here
happened?
for another week.
I missed for a second.
Missed what? Oh, no, it was just a spammer.
Oh, I didn't even see it. That's why we've got the best mods ever. That are usually getting modded themselves. Oh, there was an echo.
Yeah, it was just the NDI source was on.
Ah, yeah. All right, I sent you the link for the Zencaster. Think through Slack. I have so many things open right now.
Yeah, I have quite a few as well. Maybe we can have chat help us pick an episode.
Okay, I like that idea.
So, spoiler alert, next week we're covering a show called Behind the Bastards. And it is essentially interesting information about some of the most famous bastards in the world, I guess. So,
Like bad guys.
Yeah, bad guys. Yeah, a lot of these are like current.
No, go to the back. Go to the back ones, the old ones, the like first few episodes. That's the ones that I liked. Stalin After Dark. Saddam Hussein liked erotic novels. That's an interesting
That would
one.
be
Or
interesting.
erotic novelist, meaning he was writing it. Osama bin Laden's hard drive.
The Cocaine Queen of Miami.
Hitler's young adult fiction fangirl. Oh, God. Duh, Josh. I kind of like that Saddam Hussein one, I think.
Yeah, we could do Saddam Hussein. I mean, it sounds like a weird look at it, so I like that.
It's about like stupid stuff these bad people were into. That's like weird that you didn't know about, and they're never going to teach you in history class.
Yeah, we could do Saddam Hussein, erotic novelist.
If I like feet.
All right, we need to mute Skype now.
Okay. Erotic novelist, let's go. All right, and we are. There's an echo again.
No, it was just when you were not muted yet.
Oh. Yeah. All right, so I don't have to watch as many places now. That's a good thing.
Yeah, there is that.
It's much more easy to handle. I feel bad for our one friend in Brazil that always likes to watch the YouTube.
Oh, no, I'm planning on recording it.
Yeah. I always feel bad because he likes to watch it live.
All right, I'm going to refill my water, and then we're good.
All right. Yeah, we need to get on the road. We have an interesting interview coming up. I need to get a phone charger. I'll be RB as well. I don't know if Brazil Friend plays video games. Actually, no. I talked to him a little bit about it because he was watching on Tuesday. And I think he does, or he used to. I don't know. He said he wasn't good at shooters, so he new undies? No, I'm not wearing underwear. Bye. It's no undies Friday. No, I always record bottomless, and that's why the live recordings when Josh and Zach were in the same room with me were always the most awkward. I never wore pants. I do remember a time that I did end up taking my pants off during a recording because it was so hot in your apartment, Josh. I don't know if you remember that. That was interesting. A room tour? I mean, this is my little room. I can show you the rest of it. There's not much that you haven't seen. It's not very exciting. There's a little air conditioner or a fan that is slowly oscillating. There's pictures of my children, and there's where Mason plays Fortnite and stuff. And that's my room.
All right. Sorry about that.
I don't know how we got in this conversation.
Okay. So I guess we're ready.
Alrighty then. Oh, Kelnick, I didn't tell you yet. We did finally get affiliate, so we are excited about that.
Yep, and that is why we are going to have a shirt giveaway at some point soon.
Yes, we are.
I didn't know if you were okay with me saying that and just throwing it out there, but we are.
Yeah.
Shirt giveaway coming soon.
And I still have lots of these stickers that Josh bought us forever.
Those stickers are awesome too.
We already gave you a shirt, Josh. Didn't we? I hope so. No, we did.
I'm pretty sure we did.
We didn't for a long time. And they were like, "You got a shirt, right?" And he's like, "No." And then we gave it to him.
He's saying no.
No, I don't believe it.
But he could just be lying to get another one.
I still have stickers.
Hard to tell.
I can't see the stickers. Oh, there's the stickers. I like the stickers. I have it on all my things. I have it on this. I have it on my laptop.
Oh, that's not the good shirt. We're talking about these.
Yeah, I need to take my hoodie off and show my shirt.
Yeah, we made those as cheaply as possible because we were going to a podcast convention. So, yeah, if you don't have one of those, then you should definitely check out the stream and maybe you can win one. No, I'm lying. We'll get you one.
Alrighty then.
We're good there.
Yeah, we need to get the recording going because we do have a scheduled interview, so we need to get the ball rolling on this one. I'm going to hit record right now.
Me too.
Welcome to the Podcast Discovery Show, the podcast that's about other podcasts, where every single week we take a deep dive into a podcast we were recommended the week before. Dang it.
Yeah, I was about to say, you can run that back.
Welcome to the Podcast Discovery Show, the podcast about other podcasts, where every single week we have a deep dive discussion about a podcast we recommended the week before. And at the end of this episode, we're going to recommend a brand new one and talk about that one. I'm Kirk.
And I am Zach. And this week, we are talking about another one of Toph from This Week Today and also from Gravity Beard.
Mm-hmm.
This is his second recommendation, so that's pretty awesome. And this week's show is called Break a Wish.
And we're talking about the episode Shazam, about Shazam with Sinbad.
I was about to say, yeah, definitely Shazam. No, okay, we can start there. So apparently there is a weird Mandela effect of people remembering that there is a Sinbad movie called Shazam that is Sinbad as a genie. And first of all, if I was a kid and that came out, I 100% would have watched that too. No doubt.
Yeah, for sure. I do remember this. Like, I don't know why. I'm not saying that it's an actual thing, but I do remember it. I remember Sinbad in a genie outfit with a little kid giving him 3 wishes. I remember that.
It's
I don't
so
know why.
specific.
But I do. And so when they talked about Shaq, I'm like, that wasn't Shaq, it was Shaquille O'Neal. And then I'm like, oh wait, no, this is that thing. And yeah, it's weird. I don't know. But no, it is about Kazam with Shaquille O'Neal. And we, because we always do, we went above and beyond. And for you guys, for the listeners, we made the sacrifice of watching this movie so that we could talk about it in real time and have a refresher, because it has been a long time
It's
since
been
I've seen this movie.
a really long time since I saw this movie. I had general memories of it, but other than that, there was one specific thing that we'll get into, but I had not seen it in a very long time. And honestly, just kind of first take at it, I did not hate it. It was not good. It was not good in basically any way, but I did not hate watching it. So there's that.
1 second. I have too many things open. All right. No, I completely agree. I actually enjoyed the movie. It is horrible in its own way, but it's
In a
horrible
very special way.
in the best ways, that it brings back the nostalgia of the just horrible movies that you watched as a kid. And I don't know, it's
it
got
really
that like
does.
special, it has a tongue-in-cheek kind of feel to it. Not quite, but kind of, a little bit self-aware, but not enough.
Okay, I do think that they felt like they were being goofy, but I feel like they thought it was funny, and it wasn't really. You know what I mean? So like, I felt like they were making gags, and they were a little self-aware, but it wasn't like well executed. It was the weirdest movie.
No, and it is one of those things where, like, because it fell flat a lot of times, that's what made it funny to me, at least watching it as an adult. I'm sure I thought it was funny as a kid.
Oh yeah, no, that's the thing. It's not
stupid
really
jokes.
fair to watch this as an adult and talk about how stupid it is, because yeah, when we were kids, I loved this movie. It wasn't one of the ones I watched every single day or anything, but like I did enjoy Kazam for sure.
Yeah. And so let's talk about the podcast for a minute. So this is a podcast that they specifically talk about shows that have to do with like wishes, which is a very narrow like subset of movies and stuff.
Narrow, but there's
great.
a lot of them.
There is some of the things on that list. I'm like, oh yeah, that does have wishes in it somewhere. It is. You're right. It's weird when you look at the list of the movies that have to do with
some kind of a
wishes
wish
in some way. And so Maddox Campbell is the host of the show, and he always has like 1 or 2 guest hosts come on. And on this particular episode, he had Corey Birch and Anthony Hall, who are like comedians and stuff like that, come on to his on this episode to talk about Kazam. The breakdown of what the show is about, it says, Break a Wish is a podcast where all your dreams come true, but with terrible, ironic consequences. On each episode, host Maddox Campbell sits down with 2 guests and 1 magic wish. The panel breaks down the wish from every angle while trying to come up with the perfect, ironic cost. Our goal is to come up with a cost that will make it a gut-wrenchingly difficult choice whether you would accept this wish knowing its cost. Then we ask our panelists and our audience if they would.
And it honestly, they did add a lot to my rewatch, because a lot of the things that I noticed as I was watching this movie, they also noticed and talked about, because there is a lot of parts of this movie that you're just like, why is this happening? Because it really is just the weirdest movie. So I mean, even at the very beginning, like all of the character setup, it's not what you think it would be, because they talked about in the show that like the kid is the worst. He really is. He's like a jerk for no reason. Like he's a
little turd. He's just a little turd.
And I guess maybe when you're a kid, you just kind of put yourself in that position where you're like, oh, I'm a kid. I associate with this kid because he's also a kid and has parents, and they annoy him, and my kid annoyed my parents, but he's the worst. Like he's that kid that was like, he would get detention every day, but then he would have like one-liners that were really stupid. Whenever
look at the other kids like, yeah, look what I said. I said the stupid thing.
Yeah, I don't know what exactly was going on with how they were writing this, but I think it's a kids movie, so it wasn't super thought out. But okay, my first kind of question as I was watching this movie is, why is Shaq the genie? Like, I realized that seems crucial to the movie itself, but that's my question. Is
he's
like
one of the producers as well.
I know, but did he make a movie for himself? Because I was looking at IMDb, and I think the budget for this movie was $20 million.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah, that's why some of the special effects didn't look ridiculous. But
I actually have some trivia questions that IMDb is really cool. They have a lot of interesting facts behind the movies that you don't normally know about. But I want to mention one on that. Despite the fact the film was a critical and financial disaster, Shaquille O'Neal has not expressed regret for his involvement. He said that in 2012 interview, I was a medium-level juvenile delinquent from Newark who always dreamed about doing a movie. Someone says, hey, here's $7 million. Come in and do this genie movie. What am I going to say? No? So I did it.
Okay, so yeah, he didn't make this just for himself, but also that is, what is $7 million out of $20 million? Almost a third of the budget was because Shaq was the genie. Like, I do not understand. He's not like a particularly good actor. I think he's pretty funny. I think that he's like really hammy in this movie. Like, it is so over the top, and like I just felt like all over the place, because some of the stuff they wrote was so weird. Like, because he would kind of halfway rap throughout the whole thing, and then it was like, oh, I don't know if I want to be a rapper, but he's rapping the whole time. My favorite scene
in the whole movie is when Shaquille O'Neal first shows up as Kazam, because everything he says is in a really weird like cadence of a rhyme, and I was thinking he eventually was gonna like break it down, because I honestly didn't remember almost anything about this movie, but yeah, it was so good when he first shows up.
I don't even. It's all over the place, because there's some stuff like that, like Kazam is pretty much always rhyming or rapping. And I believe that he was rapping in his personal life at this point too, but it is not like good. It's very 90s, but it's not even like good for the 90s. It's like, meh, but like, it's really corny. The rhymes are ridiculous. And they talk about this a lot on Break a Wish, is a lot of the rhymes are insane, like completely insane. Because there was one about like, oh, I did my studies in Mesopotamia. Let me find this line, because I found a website that, like, I don't know how people have this much time, but it's called transcripts.fandom. And it's got a wiki that I believe is the entire transcript of this entire movie.
Why?
The mental fortitude that it would take.
Have fun finding that quote in there.
Oh, I already did. Control F, baby. So here's what we got. No, it's just it's impressive to me in a weird way that somebody went through and did this, but we got it. So where did you learn all this? Harvard? Harvard? I'm way too intelligent for Harvard. I experienced my academia in Upper Mesopotamia. But here's my favorite part of this line. But nothing is more major than my studies in Asia. And I did not rhyme those two words. but Shaq did. Shaq did rhyme those two words, Major and Asia, and that was like Asia, yeah. No, but like the writing is so weird in this movie. And okay, one of the things that like I remembered immediately when we started talking about okay, we're gonna watch Kazam, was him eating eyeballs. The bad guy like eating a plate of eyeballs, and he's not just eating them; he's like ham fisting them. It's like
I know. It's like these are a delicacy.
And just like it's handfuls at a time.
Them all down.
Just
it was like
jamming them in his gullet. Yeah,
enjoy them at least.
Yeah, it's disturbing. And that dude eats the whole time, and every single time, it's nasty looking. Like even like in the first scene, they're at like a nightclub, and the kid's in there too because why not? The kids are always in nightclubs, and even though he's 8, it's fine. So he's in there, and there's a plate behind them, and they're like eating dinner at this nightclub. So apparently it's a very fancy nightclub. They have dinner, but the dinner was literal whole baby carrots and like broccoli florets. And it's like, why? What is happening with the food in this movie? And then one time he's eating some like it looks like white Jello. So like I don't know what it was supposed to be, but every time this guy's in a scene, he's eating. Or like cackling maniacally. That's the other kind of option for his scenes. And every time he's eating, it is disturbing looking. It is very disgusting looking food. I don't know why that was like a thing for them to build that into his character, but it was a weird one.
So I clicked on his IMDb because they talked about like, where did they get this guy? Did they just pick him up off the street? No, they didn't pick him up off the street because he is credited in like 200 movies and TV shows. He's been in everything.
Oh yeah.
Law and Order SVU. He's been in like Will and Grace, a bunch of episodes. Scrubs, Jag. I'm just going up now.
Jag.
Back to the current time. Pirates of the Caribbean, 2 of them. He's been in so many different things, and I've seen him in a bunch of stuff. It's just one of those faces that you're like, oh, I've seen him in a lot of movies. I don't know where, but he's in a lot of movies that I've seen. How I Met Your Mother is like 7 episodes. He's credited with so many things.
Yeah, no, and the guy who directed this is like from the like the classic sitcom. Well, I guess it was more like a procedural or whatever, but he's from Starsky and Hutch. He was one. I can't remember which one he was, but he was either Starsky or Hutch, and like he did some okay. I think he was Starsky in it, if I'm seeing this correctly, but he's done some like okay stuff. You know, I mean, it's really tough to like compare with Kazam. Honestly, it's really tough to compare with that.
This was his last movie that he produced or whatever.
Directed. He was like, I quit. No, he's done. It basically did some TV shows. It looks like after that, but like he was in a bunch of movies. He was in Fiddler on the Roof. He was in Running Man with Schwarzenegger, and like it's just funny that like somebody who was fairly successful made the weirdest movie of all time, and.
It's so good though.
It's okay. Yeah, I do think it's fair to say it's not like I regretted watching it at all.
I laughed out loud at times. I'm like, oh my God, this is so good. Like when they're in the club and the girls are doing their breakdown and they're singing and stuff. And then Shaquille O'Neal's like trying to hide behind a pole, and the little kid does a stupid one-liner, and then Shaquille starts like rapping back from the crowd. Oh, it was so good. And then he had his like boom boxes spraying sparks everywhere.
Yeah. And God. Like his immediate fame was interesting to me. It's like, oh, I don't know if I want to rap. And he just starts rapping and everybody loves it. And also I felt like the writing of this was kind of another just weird place. Was they had the entire like turning point for this movie was that there was a master tape, because literally as soon as I heard it, they're like, piracy is a felony, and they're like having this whole argument with this guy. It's like, you're gonna do crime and you're gonna shut up about it. And
I had no clue at all as a kid that this movie was in any way about piracy.
No, but I don't think it was like piracy like you would think it would be. It looked like it was piracy literally of live shows at this nightclub.
Yeah, were they okay? Was the tape that they were looking for the tape of Shaquille O'Neal rapping?
I think so. That's what I'm
So
saying. It's
that's
like
the tape that was supposed
either that or the one
$1
before that. Like well, he was still rapping, but it was like a group there. And so apparently that tape is worth $1 million. And piracy, that's the real. And I mean, I guess I get it because it's a kids movie, so you don't really want it to be like drugs or murders or anything. But it was just funny because it's like, are you guys really that concerned about piracy? You're gonna make that like they're being pirates, they're being media pirates. I can't believe it.
Some of the little things that the podcast hit on that I noticed as well, because we vaguely listened to the podcast before, and then I watched the movie, and then I'm like, okay, I'm gonna listen to the podcast and take notes. And one of the things that I didn't hear the first time, and when I first saw it, I'm like, oh my god, it's Pedro from Napoleon Dynamite.
Yes.
But he looks the exact same age.
Yeah,
as
he
from
just has a
Napoleon Dynamite.
retainer. He just has a retainer at this age, apparently.
Oh man, but he's in this movie as one of the bad guys, like as one of the punks that
I'll
beats
say
up
this: some of the bad
punk.
guys in this movie are terrible. Like the kids are pretty. But okay, what were they gonna do to him in that first scene? They like spray painted a green like body around him. So they get him in the bathroom and they throw him on the floor. And I was like, okay, it's like swirly time or whatever. But no, they took a green can of spray paint and like did an outline around him. And I was like, what's next? What's what's
I didn't
after
think about
this?
that. Yeah, I'm not sure. It was some weird bullying. Yeah, it was a different type of bullying.
And the
I will
dad
say
is
that.
the worst person on the planet, obviously. Like the stepdad is maybe the nicest person on the planet. And it's just the weirdest combination of things. Oh, also maybe my favorite line in the entire movie, and it's not because it was funny, it's because like what is happening? It's so dark. After Kazam appears out of an 8-year-old's bedroom, we'll talk about that in a second. His mom hands him a cup of orange juice. And I'm gonna read you this actual transcript. So he walks out of the bedroom with Shaq, and she hands him a glass of orange juice, and she said, "That's right, it's poison. I figured if I ended your suffering, mine would end too." This is a kids movie, Mom. It really was supposed to be for children. And also, there's another one where she says just directly, "I'm a bad mother." And then she lets him go to a nightclub and get kidnapped by his dad. It's like, yeah, kind of. Like you're kind of.
I will say this made me kind of think about all the movies I watched as a young kid, and all these kids like doing these ridiculous things, like this kid, like going to nightclub and stuff, or Ninja Turtles and all these other movies where these kids are like just wilding out. They're just everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
They're just in the streets. And as a parent, I'm like, who does this? My kid never will my kid at the age of however old this kid is, like what, 10?
Yeah,
like,
8 or 10.
Like completely gone for like 2 days. She's like, I haven't seen you in 2 days.
He went to a nightclub.
And the stepdad's like, it's okay, leave him alone. I'm like, what?
He snuck out of the house and went to a club where they're doing illegal piracy everywhere. And Shaq is performing. It's a racy nightclub. And essentially, she was a weird character that had zero development at all. She was like the mom, and she was just there to be like mean. And they talked about that in the show as well. Another one, and we're back to where I was going with the orange juice thing. They talked about in the show, and it was one of my favorite bits, is the weird stuff of like, you maybe shouldn't have done that. Like Shaq waking up in the bed with the kid. First of all,
yeah,
there was a really like funny scene of the kid wakes up and Shaq's hand goes on his face, and Shaq's hand it looked like he was holding a tangerine. Like it was funny, but then you see that Shaq is in his pajamas laying right next to him. And also, once again, for me, one of the best parts of this movie are watching Shaq interact with like normal sized things. So like everybody,
bad guy he comes up to like his belly button.
yeah. No, and like
It's
the bed, it looks like he's laying on like a tiny little like children's bed. And so you have this gigantic man laying next to a tiny kid in bed, both of them wearing pajamas. It's like, why would you put this in the movie? Like, just don't put him in the bed. Like, that's weird.
I don't know. I feel like the way that it was presented didn't feel
No.
bad.
I don't think it
was
did
the-
either.
Even when we say it now, it feels worse than what it was in the movie.
Yeah.
The way they said it in the podcast, I was like, "Oh my god, that's horrible." And then I watched, I'm like, "Oh come on."
No, he
this
was
is-
clearly goofing off.
Yeah.
But also, there is some like suspended belief
He
here.
was the big spoon.
Yeah, no, I guarantee he was the big spoon because there's no one that can be the big spoon to Shaq. That is not a position that he will ever feel. So it's just Shaq's life. If he was actually a genie, then maybe that's what he would wish for, is some even more gigantic person so that he could be the little spoon for once. But honestly, to me, I felt like that scene, like where he's in the bed, was funny. But then him walking, and they talk about this on the show as well, is him walking out at 8 a.m, right before the mom threatens to kill the kid with poison orange juice. And her just be like, "Oh, there's a gigantic dude wearing suspenders and glasses. What are you doing here, buddy?" And he's like, "Oh, I'm the tutor." It's like, okay, that's perfect. I'm glad you're here. My kid's stupid. He needs a tutor.
That's normal.
Yeah,
A
like
tutor is here in my home at 8 a.m. It was weird. I did love the product placement though. My favorite one, they mentioned the Pepsi one where Shaq shows up and immediately steps on a Pepsi can, like just perfectly in frame. My favorite one was the kid was talking about time and he's like, "It's not lunchtime." And he looks at his watch and Shaq like does this like weird genie trick and makes his watch fall on the ground. And he's like, "Oh no, my fossil watch." So bad. It was the best and the worst of product placement ever. And then like zoomed in on the watch as he picked it up. It's like, oh my god.
no, it's okay. Favorite scene in this movie?
I mean, I honestly, it was when Shaq appeared and did his horrible rapping. That's when I'm like, oh man, stuff's gotten real.
My
That
favorite
was my
rap
favorite
scene's
part.
probably him and the kid. Like he's like, "I'm scared to rap," and then they do the most terrible rap, like back and forth rap, where, and they talk about this in the show too, where it's like the 8-year-old is teaching rap to Shaq, and it's like he's like, it's this whole set piece, and it's like
My favorite is that the kid, you can completely tell that it's like lip synced and like it's like produced and then added on top of the video, and it's so bad.
It's terrible. It's terrible in every way. I think my favorite scene in this movie is the end fight scene because there was a lot to unpack in this fight scene. You never see Shaq hit one person. There's always a jump cut because I think they were worried he might kill him. Like he's a large man.
I did notice that. I was like, wait, do they have like stunt doubles for him?
Maybe
Because it would be like
no,
you'd see like an arm come across, but you don't see it. You
No,
never
but
see
here's
his
why.
face, like when he's hitting somebody.
NBA contract. Like a lot of sports contracts, you have essentially clauses where you don't get, like, you can't get hurt or it'll mess up especially you can't get hurt outside of basketball. You know what I mean?
Really?
Yeah, because essentially they don't want you like going skydiving and breaking your leg and then keeping your contract when that's something that was preventable, is their thought. Is it right?
What about Rocky Mountain climbing
what?
or going 3.7 seconds on a bull named something?
Yeah, perfect. That too. So basically,
It was a great joke. I
Yeah.
just ruined it.
no, that's why I wanted to let you sit in it for a little bit.
What is it? Blue Manchu? Is that what the name of what's the name of the bull? I don't know. It's a bull's name.
So, the fight scene at the end of the movie, he doesn't punch one person. There's definitely a time where it's like they had seen like some action movies and they kind of went for it. So there was that whole thing of like, oh, I pinned a guy and you're going to accidentally hit him. But it's like set up like 20 seconds before. Like the guy easily could have avoided it. Shaq grabs the guy and turns him around. And essentially, the dude runs from across the room and sees that this is happening and then punches that dude right in the face. And then Shaq, at one point, grabs somebody by the butt. And he looks like he's like he got in there. He grabbed somebody by the butt and like threw him across the room, and then like then the whole basketball thing. So spoiler alert. Sorry everyone for the 96 classic movie. Spoiler alert.
This was one of my favorite things in the whole movie. It was my favorite. Was not my favorite scene, but it is one of the best and worst things I've ever seen.
It's ridiculous. He basically grabs the bad guy. He turns him into a giant, weird-looking basketball who is screaming the whole time, like just screaming as he's getting carried away, and just like dunks him down a garbage chute. And like it's this weird like factory. I don't know. It's got a garbage chute. He dunks him, and then he basically, I guess they talk about this in the show. Is he dead? Like the whole ending of this movie is like there's like a fire for no reason. Just everything's burning. The whole world.
How many people died in this last scene?
No, everyone in the movie died except for Shaq, the kid, and the dad. I think the dad made it too. Yeah, the dad made it too. So that's kind of it. And I mean, the dad had like a redemption arc, kind of. Not really. Like he's like, hey, I'm going to stop being like actively hostile and like kidnapping you and beating people in front of you. And like that, he literally in the first scene, he throws him out of the club. So the kid walks back there when they first figure out that everyone's into piracy. Oh God. And he's like berating this guy who's like, I don't want to commit crimes. And he's beating him and saying like, you're going to commit this piracy felony. And then he sees the kid. He's like, get out of here. He says it like 3 times. And then eventually he grabs the kid and he takes him out the back, like the side hatch of the club, and just throws him out there. He's like, okay, son, out you go. See you later. I told you to get out of here.
So I did want to ask you this, Zach. If you were to find a magic boombox.
Oh, boy.
And you had 3 wishes to choose from, what would your 3 wishes be?
I do not know. I mean, can I go back in time?
I don't know. I would say no, because you can't do like, what did he say?
No etherealness.
Yeah.
Well, I was gonna wish to be in Kazam, like retroactively.
Wish for more wishes. No.
Yeah, no, that's the cheap wish. You can't do that. You gotta commit.
So I figured out my wishes. I would want to do at least one good wish. So I figured out my one good wish would probably be I'd wish for enough money for me to give everyone in the world enough food to survive and health care, because that'd be great.
Yeah, I dig that.
And then I'm gonna be all the wishes. The rest of the wishes are for me.
Okay, perfect. Yeah,
I want to be able to eat whatever I want and never get fat.
Okay, yeah, that's a great one. I want that one too. And can I fly? Can I wish to fly? Like be able to fly?
Now, what if your wish is one long run-on sentence that has multiple wishes in it? I want to be able to
I don't think this is a grammar thing.
While I think it's having the most money in the world and looking the best of any other person on earth.
So you just
and you just say all those things in one sentence, and
you're
it's
like,
one
that
wish?
was one. I never stopped. I think it's more the times they have to do the magic. You get 3 magic usages. Kirk does want to be an angel, and that's honestly, that's a fine wish, you know. He wants to he wants to be a beautiful angel soaring through the skies and helping everyone who's in need, and then also being incredibly good looking and eating a hot dog, I guess. Like, I mean, that sounds like, come on. Are any of you saying that that's not something that you would wish for? Because you're lying if you are.
Don't lie.
Because, yeah, I almost just want to take Kirk's wish. That sounds great.
But let's see. I got some other notes here. I wanted to end in this. There was a quote in here that I was like, you know what? It sums up the movie, and it's kind of like one of those, like at the end of a Full House, where they have like a moral of a story, you know? And
yeah,
like,
where every single episode has to have a moral at the end that's very, very direct.
It's so 90s, so early 90s. It's perfect. There's a quote where Shaq says, "Life's about what you got and what you can do with it." It's because he's talking about it's not about wishes, it's about what you got and what you're gonna do with it. I'm like, hey man, that's a great quote.
Is it though? No, that's a pretty good one. No, but I mean, I think my quote that I want to end it on is nothing more major than my studies in Asia.
No, you got to say Asia.
Nothing more major. I guess that is it. Nothing more major than my studies in Asia. Or I guess you could go your way. Nothing's more major than my studies in Asia. That's worse.
I like mine better.
I don't know if that really works, but I mean, that's
I
like
don't think either of them work very
that's
good.
Eminem level rapping to be able to rhyme those two words. It's incredible to witness.
Oh, it was such a fun podcast to listen to, such a fun movie to watch again, and I had all the like feels as a little kid again, going back in time. I am gonna have to watch this movie with my children now.
Yeah, no, and I would highly recommend doing kind of what we did because it was really fun. Is watch the movie that they're talking about and then go listen to it because they have a really funny spin on how they're going to look at it, and it's a lot of times they're going to pick up things you thought about. I was laughing a lot after watching this ridiculous movie and then listening to the show.
Yeah, no, it was great, and it's great because they recommended a show for us to listen to next. Zach, what's the show that we're going to listen to next week?
Yeah, we're just chaining it along, and this one is called Behind the Bastards.
Hey,
A
this is a kid
fantastic show name.
We can't say the bad words.
No, we can. I feel like bastard is universally accepted as PG.
Yeah, I agree. I'm just kidding with you. It wasn't very funny.
Were you gonna? Yeah, okay. So the episode we're gonna talk about, basically, we just looked through their list, and we tried to find something that we thought we'd want to learn more about, and I think we found one. Saddam Hussein, erotic novelist.
Yeah.
I'm not even going to look any more into it. I'm just going to listen. I'm going to let it happen to me. And we're going to learn.
Curious.
We're going to learn about whatever that is. So yeah, we're really looking forward to it.
And remember,
there's always more to discover.
Sorry, you teed that one up, and I didn't catch it at first.
That's all good.
Well, great.
All right,
We're
I'm going
a little bit late to our
this
interview.
recording. Yeah, let's. I mean, we're all good. We're pretty close. Okay, I'm gonna throw on. Be right back for just a second. To
Okay,
Skype. You did the call, right? I think just on the top right, there's a thing that says add people to the call. All right, we're gonna go. Be right back for just a second so we can get this all set up, and then we're starting with the other Discovery show. Thanks so much for checking it out. We're gonna be right back. Hey, we don't want you guys to have to sit in silence while we're doing this. I'm going to put on some jams.
I think you never turn the music up because I see the music. Yeah, because they were talking about it in chat. We're supposed to. So you're just supposed to think about what the music was gonna be.
Yeah, you can just try and guess what those song names would make you think of. But yeah, no, I just didn't want you to hear us all talking.
So, guys, we have a very special guest. We're about to record the podcast, but we have a special guest that we're excited to have on the show. And yeah, it's gonna be a fun discussion. So let me go ahead and hit record on the Zencastr. Let's get 10 seconds of silence. Welcome to the Other Discovery Show, the podcast that is not about podcasts. It's the bonus show from the Podcast Discovery Show that's about all the other things we discovered throughout the week. I'm Kirk.
And I am Zach.
And we have a very special guest this week. And I recently discovered him through a podcast. I know we are not normally supposed to talk about podcasts, but I was listening to a TLDR episode, and they were talking about the man that had, at the time, over 14,000 songs on Spotify and songs about everything. I don't know if there was a song that he hasn't written yet. Obviously, there was, because he has now gotten a lot more. It is the man, the myth, the legend, Matt Farley. Thank you so much for being on the show, man.
Yeah, we really appreciate it.
Oh yeah. Thank you very much. It's an honor.
So when I first heard about you, I found it was the day before my son's birthday. And they were talking about how you have a song for almost every kid's name or every person's name. And I was like, my son's name's Mason. I bet you he's got one. So I made it my mission, and for the rest of my life, my children's lives, it will be that on their birthday, they will be played their song that has their name, their song that has their birthday, and their song that has their birth year. Because you have a song for every age all the way up to 98. Am I correct?
Yeah, absolutely.
So from 1 to 98, do you have one for the age of 1?
Oh yeah. I'm 99% sure. Yeah.
And so yeah, I woke him up to those songs, and of course he's like, "Daddy, did you have someone write these songs for you?" I'm like, "Yes, I did." No, I didn't tell him that, but
you have to at least pretend, right?
I said, "I'm the best dad ever," and I just found all these amazing songs for you. And on that episode, they talk. You actually mentioned how you have your phone number on everything, and so I was like, "There's no way he still answers his phone after having his phone number on all of his socials." And we gave you a call, and you answered.
Yeah. You know,
has that ever gotten
maybe
crazy?
I'm just. Nah, it's great. I have great conversations with people all the time. And it's not that much. I don't know. I get 1 or 2 calls a day, and a lot of times people just hang up right away, but because they get nervous. But then I have some great conversations. Some people, like, we text back and forth regularly for years, and like I consider them friends.
That's awesome. Our chat says, "This guy looks so cool. You look like James Bond."
Nice. Well, I'm not cool. The trick is I'm not cool. I'm just obsessed with creativity, and my entire goal in life was just to be able to write and record music as much as possible. And I realized at one point I was like, I can't, if I have like a regular day job 9 to 5, it's gonna give me no time to work on music. You know, I need to find a way to earn money from the music, so that's my job. And I figured out the trick is just to write so many songs that eventually, almost by accident, I'll earn a living because there's so many of them. I'm getting close to 21,000 songs now.
I was just
incredible.
About to ask how many you were getting close to.
And so this wasn't something that you ever set out to do. You just really liked creating, and it just kind of happened for you this way?
Yeah. In college, my friend Tom Scalzo and I, at Providence College, we slowly developed a theory about songwriting, and the theory was never say no to any idea, because if you start doubting your ideas, then like the part of your brain that gives you ideas will be insulted, and it will stop giving you ideas. You know, the idea center in your brain gives you an idea, and even if I think it's a bad idea, I'm like, all right, idea center, I'll do it, and I record the song, and then boom, a new idea comes, and it's like they just keep coming if you are nice enough to follow through and write every stupid idea you could come up with. And I just write them fast, and the theory is like I could write 10 awful songs in a row, but then like the 11th, almost by accident, could be great. And you know, at that rate, I've got 2,000 masterpieces, and I do.
That is amazing, and it's a very it's a very interesting I guess mentality. But hey, it's the whole like throw it against the wall, see what sticks, and it's funny.
Yeah, so what happened was, like, we were in a semi-serious band called Moe's Haven through the early 2000s. We released 25 albums, and a lot of them were just serious, good, honest, straightforward songs. Nobody listened to those. But then on every album, we'd write the silly songs, like our favorite silly songs. We'd throw it on the album just as like, just to lighten the mood. And it was like, wow, around 2006, I was like, wow, this month, Tom, we earned $6. 2 people bought pickle sandwich. 2 people bought Shut Up Your Monkey, and 2 people bought Toilet Troubles. And a light went off in my head. I was like, wait a second, people are going to at the time it was iTunes was the only thing there was.
Yeah.
I was like, people are going to iTunes. They're typing in weird words like pickle and monkey and toilet. And there's not a lot of songs. Like ours is like the first one to come up when you type pickle sandwich, So I was like, I know what to do. I just got to write 20,000 of these. And luckily, like, I was already ready to do it because I'd spent all those years churning out songs. In 2006, Tom and I recorded an album a day, 30 minutes of music every single day for the whole year. So it was kind of like just this boot camp. And I didn't realize I was preparing to become the most prolific novelty songwriter on earth.
And it's not just the songs. You have a bunch of different band names that you release these songs under too, correct?
Yeah, I thought it would be confusing for people if they went to just one artist and they found 360 albums, and 20,000 songs. And so I have 80 different pseudonyms. So like there's the Best Birthday Song Band Ever, which is all those personalized birthday songs. I love the very nice, interesting Singer Man does like just funny like songs about household products or sports, etc. And then of course my the cash cow that is the Toilet Bowl Cleaners with the poop songs.
I love the poop songs.
That band is big. Even, no joke, the Billie Eilish has a video where she talks about one of my poop songs. It's the best.
What?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Which song did she talk about?
So there's some Instagram video of her like at some thrift store, and she's like, I got this song in my head. It's like poop, 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 poop. And then she's like, yeah, it's by an artist called the Toilet Bowl Cleaners. I didn't even think it was real, but it's real. And so if you go to that song's YouTube page, every comment is like, I can't believe Billy listens to this song. And I'm like, yeah.
So it's the one that the only word in the song is poop?
I'm not sure. I think she was actually referring to one called Poop, 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 Poop Song, which actually has more lyrics. I don't know if have you found my Name Poop Song series yet?
Like the celebrities that poop songs? Those?
No. Okay, ready for this? As you know, if I use a person's name in a song, much like the birthday songs, it's popular, and name songs are and poop songs are popular. And then I had this moment where I was like, what if we combine names with poop? and I've done 1,200 songs where the lyrics to every song are just Johnny, poop 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 poop, Johnny poop 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 poop, and it's huge on TikTok. There are thousands of TikTok videos. We can't let them shut down TikTok because it's a huge discovery mechanism for me.
Have you sued Kanye West yet? Because I feel like you should.
For what?
Yeah, I know.
Weird song he put
when
out?
He came up with that scoopity poop whatever
Yep.
thing. Everyone was sending me messages. They're like, Kanye is stealing your act. No, I welcome him. I welcome on Twitter. I was like, Kanye, I welcome you to the world of poop music.
So
My
that's
favorite so far is "Poop into a Wormhole." That's it's just so catchy. It gets stuck in my head. It's a little bit of a worm. It's an earworm as well. it's
poop into a wormhole. Poop into a wormhole. Oh, that's a good one.
so those are the real popular ones right now. Is the toilet bowl cleaners and the poop songs.
Yeah, and I mean, poop is so popular that I have two poop artists. I have the toilet bowl cleaners, and then competing with the toilet bowl cleaners is the odd man who sings about poop, puke, and pee. They're both me, just using different pseudonyms. And I like to imagine there's this like rivalry between them.
Have you ever created some of that rivalry? Like, let it unfold on social media.
Well, I mean, if you look closely, you'll see that the Singing Animal Lover, another one of my acts, was upset when the odd man who sings about poop, puke, and pee was allowed to do the Animal Poop Songs album. And so the Singing Animal Lover left Moturn Media, which is my label, and started his own label called Singing Animal Lover Music. And there's a whole album in which I pretending to be the Singing Animal Lover and singing angry songs about Matt Farley and Moturn Media because I feel that I've been wronged. It's completely insane, but I did it in a weekend and I just laughed like crazy.
That is great. That is
So are you making songs daily? Just every single day you're writing new songs?
Yeah, I have. I've got a 4-year-old and a 6-year-old, and so I'm in charge of them 4 days a week when my wife is at work. But I mean, she gets home, and most nights I come down and churn out some songs. But then the 3 days that she's not working, those are the days when it's really, On Sunday, I did 42 songs.
Wait, I was about to ask, what's the most songs you've ever written in a day? I can't believe it's more than 42. It still blows my mind.
Yeah, well, the most is when I'm just plugging in names, I do 100 in a day. But there's new rules. I think it's because of me. Like Spotify and other rules, they have this rule called, I think it's called flooding. No flooding the system with songs where you're just, changing the name. So for my name Poop Songs now, instead of just using the same music track and singing over it, I'm writing a brand new song, melody, new chords for every single name Poop Song. So and then I have to mix it, then I have to master it, then move on to the next song. It's mind numbing and I just feel ill by the end of the night, but it's better than working a day job. This has been my full-time job for almost 4 years, so I'm pretty happy.
Yeah, that's incredible. I do have a question. Do you do commissions? Because I feel like the perfect way to end this episode would be a custom podcast discovery show song.
Yeah, I mean I do. Yeah, on my
They're
website
free,
there's
Dak.
details.
They're not free.
No, I said commissions.
Yeah,
That's implied.
Yeah. On my website is all the details, moturnmedia.com, and I mean I get 5-10 per week for people asking for songs. Songs for weddings, songs for birthdays. No joke. Songs for funerals. I'm not joking.
Really?
I've actually been commissioned to perform, to do songs about recently deceased people, stuff like that. And a cool thing I was hired to write a bunch of jingles for a auto dealership in Minnesota. So I was all over the airwaves a few years ago, driving people crazy, singing, "We want you to buy happy at Maurice." They fired me because the whole state of Minnesota just rebelled. They were like, "We can't stand hearing this guy anymore."
Oh, that's amazing. So where else can people keep an eye on what you're up to? You have some social media handles?
Yeah, just Twitter at Moturn Media. If you want to get it direct from me, my phone number is 40048. And on top of all this, I've co-written and produced and star in several movies. Look up Don't Let the River Beast Get You. It's streaming on Amazon Prime. It's a good old-fashioned monster movie.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, I saw some of the things that you were credited with, but like you said, I don't know what's real and what's not on the IMDb. So, what have you been credited with on the movie side? So there's that one.
So my every few years my friends and I just get together and we write. We spend a year writing a movie and then get together for on weekends and whatnot filming, and it's just like it's the kind of movie where like there's one I made called Slingshot Cops, and the concept was, imagine if you wrote a buddy cop movie like Lethal Weapon, and your uncle was the lead actor, and it was your uncle who's never acted before. How funny would it be just to make your wacky uncle be an action star, So that's Slingshot Cops. That's also on Prime. But yeah, I got a bunch of them available. And it's just it's just my whole approach to art. It's just like just churn it out. Just make it happen, have fun, and some stuff will stick, some won't. But in the meantime, we're having a good time.
It's a great way to live.
Well, man, I am so excited that we were able to discover you through another podcast and able to talk to you. I mean, it's awesome, and I do want to be able to keep in touch and keep up with your work as you continue to make more and more songs every single day. That's amazing. How much time do you actually spend having in post-production? Because I mean, as a podcast, I know we have a little bit of time in post-production. The song's probably even worse time-wise.
I mean, in terms of like mixing and mastering, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm easy. Yeah, every once in a while, like my friends who play instruments and I, like maybe once a year, we'll spend a month working on an album. And those, because the other musicians are involved, I don't want them to get upset. So I'll actually pay a little attention to where each level is and spend time. But for most of these songs, whatever, it sounds good enough to me. Boom, boom, boom. The worst part is like the clerical work, because like I have to go to a website and I gotta type the title of every song. I gotta click on a box. Gotta write down who the songwriter is. 20,000 times I've gone through this tedious process.
For most people, that wouldn't sound like a big thing, but when you're writing 20,000 songs, that's it's more tedious than it is for most people.
Yeah, it's basically I don't just sit on the couch and watch TV. I sit on the couch with my laptop in front of me, just clicking buttons and writing names and typing names into boxes until like my brain is fried. It's not very glamorous, is what I'm saying. But again, I'm living the dream as far as I'm concerned.
That sounds like the best possible way to live it then. Yeah, so that's amazing. Yeah, thanks so much for coming on and telling us a little bit about the journey. We'll definitely link everything in the show notes so everybody can check it out.
All right,
I really
this
appreciate
is
your time.
Stay in touch.
Yeah, we definitely will. All right, I'm gonna write it down here. I don't want to just throw you off real quick. No, for real. Thank you for your time. I appreciate it. Was there anything else you want us to say or credit you with at the end of the show or anything?
No, I promoted myself like crazy. Thank you so much.
We'll put a link in our show notes and everything for all your work and stuff like that. So
yeah, thanks
Beautiful.
so much.
Well, this has been great. Have a great night.
Yeah, super fun.
You too, man.
You too.
Have a great one.
All right, bye.
Bye.
All right, we'll be right back, everybody. Just got to switch the screens out. So, how did you guys like that?
Oh, that guy is amazing, Matt Farley.
Yeah.
I am a little bit worried that I don't have the audio from him because his audio just disappeared on Zencastr. How does that work?
Ooh. We might have to do a
Like-
recover with him, but luckily he's pretty easy to get in touch with. Okay, close this Zencastr. Close the one
So,
that's
like,
on right now.
Stop recording?
I would, because it's probably that he left before you stopped recording, so it didn't upload the audio.
Okay.
So it's stop it and then like restart it essentially.
Damn it. Yeah, it only has 2.
But we can do a recover on that. So now we can. You can start recording again. We'll just send him a recover link. I think he'll be fairly easy to get in touch with. Yeah, you guys. I'm glad you guys could all hear it. But
I
yeah,
think that's the beauty of Zencastr.
he did not even mention the vast majority of the random songs and albums and bands that he has made. Over 20,000 songs on Spotify right now. So yeah, if you have a birthday coming up, or if you know anybody that has a birthday, you can get their age, you can get their name, you can get the day of the year. You can find all kinds of random stuff by him. And so it was such a interesting perspective.
Poop into a wormhole. Poop.
He does have a song. There's
poop
literally,
into a wormhole.
yeah, the entire toilet bowl cleaners and everything like that. Every single song has poop in the title. So that's
There's
those are.
desk calendar song, office desk, office chair, a song about my pen. Then I go down. That's the guy that. Here's the office guy or something like that. That's the name of that one. This one's specifically about Celtics and Red Sox.
So Boston sports. Okay.
God, he has so many songs, man. It's ridiculous.
But yeah, we want to share that with you because Kirk shared that with me.
That was going to be my discovery last week. And then when we're like, okay, well, there might be a possibility we could actually get him on the show. And so when we actually called him, I think it was Friday of last week. And we're like, hey, would you be willing to be on the show? And he's like, yeah, sure. I can't do it tonight, but I can do it next Friday. And we're like, okay, well, I guess that's my discovery for next Friday.
Yep.
And so, yeah, that's how that went around.
So yeah, don't forget to start the Zencastr again, then we can roll back into the other discoveries. Do you want me to go first? Since well, I mean, that was kind of just a separate thing, but.
Yeah, I do want you to go first.
Okay. All right, we're good, right?
Yep.
So I discovered something pretty cool this week. First of all, it's just a website I found called Sustainable Brands. That's pretty cool. They have some interesting articles on here. But the one that I saw that was pretty interesting is an article called Pro Athletes, Coaches Team Up to Redefine Masculinity Through Good Men in Sport. So I feel like this was definitely like a big topic for a long time about like toxic masculinity. And I feel like it almost became like people are getting defensive about it, but I feel like it's just something that is, there's always that like you must be X to be being manly and things like that. And then that gets amplified by 1,000,000,000% when you're talking about professional athletes. And so then I read about this organization. It's literally called Good Men in Sport. And what they're doing is pretty cool thing. So I thought it was uplifting and a cool thing to kind of talk about. So they essentially have an organization that you can get involved as a professional or a collegiate athlete. And what they're trying to do is redefine kind of that masculinity, and especially in like the hyper masculine like sports world. So the CEO of this, sports are a great platform to inspire a different way of looking at things, taking a more balanced approach to masculinity. And it's not just about what happens on the court. It's about what you do off the court as well. The idea of aspirational masculinity helps men to be the best they can be wherever they are in life. So it's something where instead of worrying about toxic masculinity, they're just doing the right thing. You know, they're being the change they want to see. And so this is a very large thing at this point. Well, very large as in like it's established and there's athletes actually in it. So there was a couple doctors from the Men's Initiative, Dr. David Kuhl and Dr. Duncan Shields, and they essentially wanted to start working with veterans and male-dominated cultures and things like that. And all of these things kind of go along with what's happening with good men in sport. And there's just been some really interesting stuff on here. And there's one of the founders, Dr. John Izzo, and he's from the Men's Initiative, and it's something that I haven't looked into what that one is, but he's one of the founders of this too. And he said that it's been proven that shaming doesn't work when it comes to behavior change, because at our core, no one wants to be told what to do, especially men. But sharing stories of how we aspire to be better men and the hard choices that come with working to be better people, those are moments that can create a real moment. And so that's a really cool thing. And then it's one of those things where they've taken a good, wholesome look at this and have tried to create some positive change. And just there's a lot of cool quotes in this. So right now, men feel stuck in a man box, forced to act in a way society has told them to. It has told them to act, what to say and what not to say. Many men today are feeling just shut down. So it's important to help them break out of that box and learn to also embrace positive traits of masculinity, such as empathy. And there's been several people who've gotten involved in this, but there's some cool things that they do. So they have a lot of workshops where essentially they have people come out. They have players workshops. They have coaches workshops. They have content that they're putting out, including veterans of professional sports. And they also have kind of a weekly thing, or not necessarily weekly, but they're putting out reports of essentially kind of all the cool things that you can do there. And so it's really just a kind of a pretty cool initiative. But okay, so here's somebody, former defensive end from the San Francisco 49ers, Dennis Brown, said, "You're taught in football that the toughest, the craziest, the meanest are the ones that excel. That's what I envision with good men in sports, teaching men that you can be competitive, but in a positive way." So just trying to change that conversation. And I feel like then instead of getting into all of the things that toxicity, like all the toxic masculinity out there, you instead look at how it can be positively masculine. And so I just think it's a cool thing, and I read about it and I wanted to share it.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like no matter what the thing is, whether it's, race, sexuality, gender, any of that, I feel like when there's a box, it makes things complicated, and it makes you kind of feel like you have to be a certain way. And I don't know. Like, I've always felt a little bit weird when it comes to my empathy, because it's always been a little bit crazy. I've always felt like, I cry at commercials and stuff like that. And then at the same time, it's like, there's things when it comes to me being half Mexican is like, well, I feel like I'm not Mexican enough, or too Mexican in this way, or I'm too white in this way and not Mexican enough in this way. It's just, it is weird to have all these different boxes that you're supposed to fit in. And we're Americans, it's a melting pot. A lot of us are not just, one thing. And so it's like, okay, well, what box am I supposed to fit in?
Yeah, I feel like how often is it that somebody truly fits into a box? That one thing can like define a person. So
like even the other day, John that works with us, who is Mexican, like me, he was saying how he doesn't eat spicy food, and I'm like, but you're Mexican, because my whole life, when I told people I didn't eat spicy food, they'd be like, but you're Mexican. It's just one of those things. It's like, and he just busted out laughing. He's like, yeah, that's what everyone always says. I'm like, I know. Oh man, it's just one of those things. But it's awesome. It's awesome that they're just trying to break down these walls. They're invisible. I feel like it's a lot like these walls that we built up around like borders and stuff, like it's all invisible. It's man-made. It's not real. It's not a thing. It's just in our brains. We made it up. It's the same thing with all of these kind of things. You know, the people south of the border are no different than the people on the north side of the border. The people on the north side of the border from us are not different than us either. It's just, we're all people. People are people. I don't know.
No, and I feel like some of the conversation is changing there, you know, so that's the cool thing is some of these boxes are being broken every day, you know, so it's a good thing. It's a positive trend. And yeah, like we're seeing these things happen. So I feel like it's good to try and highlight them, and to like, I also feel like it's one of those things, and we've talked about before, where essentially you only hear, everyone thinks that the world is worse now than it ever has been, but the world right now is better than it ever has been. We just have more awareness of every single bad thing that happens, because every person has a cell phone, and you will literally see a video of the horrors of humanity. So it's cool to see some of the positive too, you know, and that's, we've said the Mr. Rogers quote a lot, where you look for the helpers, and I feel like it applies in a lot of cases. And it's nice sometimes when we're all having to live through 2020 together. It's nice to look at some positive stuff happening on occasion.
No, I 100% agree. I have a discovery that Josh shared with us. 1 second. I just told Mason not to talk because he came in here and immediately started talking.
You had to know that was the outcome.
It's like, come on, man.
Yeah, you had to know.
You had one thing. Because he plays the Switch right there. I showed you the room tour, and when we're recording, I have him take his Switch out there, and he just brought it in here and put it on the TV, and he's like, "Can I do it?" I'm like, "No," and he's like, not listening. I'm like, well, just be quiet. He immediately started talking.
So how's everybody doing? How's everybody's Friday night going?
And of course, he has headphones, so he can't hear himself. So he's like talking so loud. Sorry, guys. All right. So I have a discovery to share with you that Josh shared with us in Slack today. Actually, no, it was a couple days ago. And I've looked into it, and it is fascinating. I just put the links in the live stream, so I want you guys to see the picture of what we're going to talk about, because it's crazy. It's about Alba. Alba was the name of a genetically modified glowing rabbit created as an artistic work by contemporary artist Eduardo Kac, produced in collaboration with French geneticist. I'm not going to say that name. I'm going to say it. Okay, I'm going to just Louis Marie Houdebine. That's Houdebine used the GPF gene from the jellyfish that fluorescent green when exposed to blue light. This is a protein used in many standard biological experiments involving phosphorescence. When Alba was exposed to such light, she would literally glow green, though photos by Kac showed the entire organism, including its hair, glowing a uniform green, have had their veracity challenged. Look at the pictures of this rabbit. This thing is like bright green. Granted, this is under a blue light. It's not just like all the time glowing like this.
It is so green. I'm sure that's why people were challenging it.
But it is crazy that they were able to make it glow at all. You know, like they took the genes from a glowing jellyfish, put them into a rabbit, and it glowed. That's nuts to me. I mean,
no, I agree.
How long before somebody's going to try that for themselves? You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I mean, like, in theory, you could. In theory, you don't need a nightlight anymore. You are the nightlight.
So the first question a lot of people ask is like, well, what happened to the rabbit? Like, what was the lifespan of the rabbit? Was it healthy and all this other stuff? Well, the rabbit has since passed away, but it lived. Here's the quote. I was informed one day that Bunny was dead without any reason, so rabbits die often. It was about 4 years old, which is a normal lifespan in our facilities, according to the place that had the rabbit.
I don't know what a normal rabbit lifespan is.
According to them, around 4 years.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's weird. But
There's
like
not a crazy lot to it, except for that there's a glowing rabbit that was made as an artistic expression by this guy. And yeah, it was interesting.
Yeah, it definitely is. I have another one that I can throw in here. Have you heard of the pizza effect?
The pizza effect. I don't think so.
So, this is, and I'll just read you the beginning of this. In religious studies and sociology, the pizza effect is the phenomenon of elements of a nation or people's culture being transformed or at least more fully embraced elsewhere than re-imported to their culture of origin. So, what this means, and okay, I'll read you this quote too because it explains why it got the thing. So it was coined by an Austrian-born Hindu monk and professor of anthropology at Syracuse. Oh, I can't even. Aghehananda Bharati in 1970. The original pizza was a simple, hot-baked bread without any trimmings, the staple of Calabrian and Sicilian contadini. I shouldn't have tried to read this part. Whom well over 90% of all Italo-Americans descend. After World War I, a highly elaborated dish, the U.S. pizza of many sizes, flavors, and hues, made its way back to Italy with visiting kinsfolk from America. The term and object have acquired a new meaning and a new status, as well as many new tastes in the land of its origin, not only in the South, but throughout the length and width of Italy. So, pizza used to be more bland, came to America, changed, became popular, went back to Italy, and it impacted the original the original.
Hey, you're not wrong.
No, the original dish. So and this is not something that's like isolated. So there's some more things that people apply to this. And once again, this is something that how popular things are, some of these things it's hard to really gauge, but these are some of the examples they have. Popularity of postural yoga in India. So it got popular here. Yogis became popular, and it became popular in India as well. There was one analyst that even thinks that Islamic terrorism, specifically suicide bombing, can be seen as an example because it was at one point very isolated and extreme, and then it kind of got re-exported afterwards because it kind of was associated to the religion. The Day of the Dead parade in Mexico City. So the Day of the Dead has been celebrated for a long time, but because of a James Bond film called Spectre, there is now a more emphasized parade for Day of the Dead. Buddhist modernism. Okay, here's a good one. According to scholar Kim Knott, Mahatma Gandhi was not very interested in religion until he went to London to study law, where he studied the Bhagavad Gita in English and in Sir Edwin Arnold's translation, and this deeply influenced his spiritual outlook.
So I actually just listened to a podcast that talked about Gandhi, and they had quotes and actual audio of him. He's known for like peaceful protests and like wanting all peace and no war and stuff like that. Well, during World War II, he was literally doing propaganda for the British to get Indian people to go to the war. Like he was saying that Indian people were being not brave and not being Indian like they should be and not fighting, which was crazy because this was but it was before he kind of got his epiphany. That's not the word.
Epiphany.
He got epiphany. Before his epiphany, and he became much more of a pacifist. But it was very fascinating because I had no clue. And I actually want to learn a lot more about Gandhi. I don't know very much about him, but he seems like a very fascinating guy. I don't know very much about him.
Okay, so speaking of both Britain and India, chicken tikka masala, a dish created in Britain based on Indian cooking, but then became popular in India. So that is British food that got imported. Salsa music. The first salsa bands were mainly Puerto Ricans who moved to New York in the 30s. The creation of jack-o'-lanterns from turnips or rutabaga was a Halloween custom in Ireland and parts of Great Britain. Irish immigrants brought this tradition with them to the United States and adapted it to use the native pumpkins instead of turnips. In time, pumpkins came to be used instead of turnips to create jack-o'-lanterns in Ireland and Great Britain. So I thought this was a cool thing to see how sometimes things get popular elsewhere, but popular enough that it impacts the origins.
That is very fascinating. Is there a name for that theory again? Did you say it?
The pizza effect.
The pizza effect.
No, there's like
a scientific name.
There's more like scholarly. There's reinculturation, self-orientization. This one's I should have just stuck with pizza effect. This is why it's called the pizza effect. Hermeneutical feedback loop.
That's the right way to say it. Yeah, hermeneutics. It's an interesting thing to study.
So yeah, basically it was just a cool thing to see how sometimes things get really popular.
All right, well that was an amazing episode, guys. We had so many discoveries and they were really cool. And we had a really cool special guest. So, yeah, do you have a band this week, Zach? Because I did not ask you that beforehand.
I do not.
I didn't think so.
Do you want to do the? I feel like we're editing now. Anyways, do you want me to do the socials, or you want to
Yeah, just go hit the socials.
Drop it out. Okay.
Just, you end it, and I'll do my bye.
All right, sounds good. So thanks so much for listening this week. We really appreciate it. We are on Twitch. We just hit affiliate, and we're pumped about it. So we're gonna keep at it. We're on all of the live streams will be on YouTube. After a day or so, they will be available there. We have a Facebook group called the Podcast Discovery Club. We'd love for you to join. We have a Twitter. We have our podcast available on most possible options. If you Google search us and the podcast catcher of your dreams, you will probably find our link there. So we hope that you get in touch any way you can. We hope that you join the live streams. We've had a great time doing this. It's really fun to be able to talk to people while we're recording the episodes. And in the end, just thanks so much for supporting the show. It really means a lot.
It really does. We love you guys. Bye.
See you next week.
Wait, no, you're not supposed to say anything after. No, I'm just kidding.
Say it again.
No, I already stopped recording.
So yeah,
I'm just gonna cut you out. I'm just editing you out.
Thanks everybody for checking out the live stream, but it's not done yet. Anybody on here who wants to play some video games? I have been jonesing for some Among Us ever since we tried last time.
I think aren't we doing the a few rounds of what is it?
We can do that too.
Cards Against people.
But basically what I'm saying is this. The stream is going to go down for 1 second, but it's coming right back because it's now time to play some games. So anybody who wants to play some games, you know where to go. And we're going to go there too. Thanks so much.
Let me tell them where to go if they want to.
Oh, maybe.
Nope.
Yeah, go there. Right. Go to exclamation point Discord. You heard him, everybody.
I hate my life.
All right.
Don't go to the first one. It's probably not good.
All right. So we'll see everybody in Discord. Thanks so much for checking it out. All right. Bye, everybody. We'll be back in like 2 minutes. Refresh in like 2 minutes.